Okay, so now let's discuss water, which is the solvent for your biochemical reactions. So we'll be having intermolecular forces of attraction, water and its properties, what is the pH of a solution, buffer systems, and what is the role of water in biochemical reactions. So the intermolecular forces of attraction or INFA determine whether the matter is a solid, liquid, or a gas under specific conditions. If the INFA is favorable, there will be a strong interaction between molecules. Otherwise, there will be no interactions between molecules. And one of the principle of INFA is like dissolves like. Okay, if you remember, we have it what we call intramolecular force. It is different from intermolecular force. Kapag sinabing intra, it is between, for example, an atom of a sodium bonded with an atom of a chlorine. That force of attraction between a sodium atom and a chlorine atom is called an intramolecular force. However, this connection between two molecules of a sodium chloride is what we call intermolecular force. So meaning intra is between an atom to atom. Intermolecular is between molecules to molecules. Okay, so under intra you have your covalent bond and your ionic bond. If you remember, how do we determine if it is an ionic bond or if it is a covalent bond? Is the type of an atom which are combined. For example, in ionic, it should be metal to non-metal combination. In equivalent bond, should be non-metal to a non-metal or a metalloid to a non-metal. Okay? However, there are two types of a covalent, which is a polar covalent and a non-polar covalent. So, you can distinguish a non-polar to a polar covalent through electronegativity value. Kung babalikan natin yung high school natin, there's a range for that. 0 to 0.39, 0.4 to 1.6, and 1.7 about. Okay? 0.2, 0.39 is considered as a non-polar covalent bond. 0.4 to 1.6 is considered as polar covalent. And of course, 1.7 ng 1.7 pataas is considered already as an ionic. So this is based on the electronegativity value of an element. Okay, for example, I'll give you oxygen gas. So if we're going to check the electronegativity value of an oxygen, it is around 3.5. However, it is bonded to another oxygen. That's why oxygen is also 3.5. Highest minus lowest for the electronegativity value. So 3.5 minus 3.5, it is just 0. Since oxygen gas or O2 has an electronegativity value of a 0, it is considered as a non-polar covalent. And if you're going to draw its bubble, so oxygen bonded to another oxygen, they have the same electronegativity bubble. Meaning, pantay yung hilahan nila electrons within each other. So, pantay lang yung effort. Parang for example, two persons na has the same weight, naghihilahan, walang mas malakas sa kanila kasi they have the same body weight, same muscle mass, and so on. Pantay lang. Same as well dito. Walang mas mabigat, walang mas malakas manghila ng electrons. Now, let's have an example of a polar covalent. Okay? An example of a polar covalent, erase ko muna. Example of a polar covalent is a H2O. Water. I'm going to draw. This is the structure of a water. So there are two atoms such as the hydrogen and the oxygen. If you're going to draw it, if you're going to check the electronegativity value of oxygen and hydrogen, hydrogen has an electronegativity of 2.1 and oxygen is around 3.5. Oxygen is 3.5, hydrogen is 2.1. If you're going to get the electronegativity value, your oxygen highest minus lowest, so 3.5 minus 2.1, it's around 1.4. 1.4 is under the polar covalent. So this is the polar covalent. So if you're going to draw the bubble, get the biggest bubble kasi it has the highest electronegativity value rather than the two hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen is considered as your partially positive and your oxygen as partially negative. Tatandaan, dinedesignate ang partially kapag polar covalent. Then, your partially negative ay para sa mataas na value, partially positive ay palaging sa mababang value. Hydrogen dito is mababang value, 2.1 lang siya, kaya partially positive. Oxygen mo is partially negative, hydrogen mo is partially positive. So, ang tawag dyan is an electrostatic forces. It has charges in partially form. And lastly, an example of ionic is actually an NaCl. So, i-compute mo yan. Check natin. So, negativity is 0.9. Taurine is 3.0. So, it's around 2.1 kasi highest minus lowest. Therefore, it is considered ionic kasi sa ionic, 1.7 pataas. So, here naman, since this is ionic, one is metal, one is a non-metal, you don't need to put partial charges. The charges itself, kung positive or negative siya. Tatandaan, lahat ng metal ay considered as positive, lahat ng chlorine ay considered as, lahat ng non-metal ay considered as negatively charged. Si Na ay nasa group number 1, kaya siya ay positive 1. Si chlorine ay nasa group number 7, kaya siya ay negative 1. Kasi 8 minus 7, negative 1. Okay? This is positive 1. This is negative 1. So again, chlorine is group number 7. Ilan na lang ang kailangan niya para maging octet-joule? Isa na lang, tapos siya ay non-metal, kaya ang charge siya ay negative 1. Si sodium ay group number 1, kaya siya ay 1 ng charge, tapos siya pa ay metal, kaya positive 1 charge. So, ganyan lang maglagay ng charges for ionic. Okay. In summary again, non-polar covalent has a range of 0 to 0.39. Polar covalent is 0.4 to 1.6, and one should be a partially positive, one should be a partially negative. Partially negative, binibigay sa pinakamataas ng electronegativity. Partially positive, binibigay sa pinakamababang electronegativity. Ibig sabihin, dito sa water, si oxygen ang pinakamalakas manghila ng electrons. Whereas, yung mas weaker ay si dalawang hydrogen natin. We also have your ionic, which consists of your metal and non-metal. Metals are positively charged. Non-metals are negatively charged. Okay? And it has a range of 1.7 pataas. So, for this one, molecules can have varying polarity. The presence of uneven distribution of electrons within the molecule resulting in the formation of a positively charged. This one, you must lower ang electronegativity and of course, a negatively charged. Funks. So these funks, FON and the halogen, are considered as the most electronegative elements. Sabihin, sila yung may pinakamabigat, they have the ability to abstract an electron. Okay. So now let's discuss non-covalent interactions. One is the van der Waals or the London dispersion forces, and it is the weakest infa and they exist between all molecules. Why? Kasi all molecules have the tendency to collide. Sabihin, may tendency magbungguan ang mga molecules. Kagaya ng crush mo, di ba? Pag nagbungguan kayo, kinlig ka, may spark. That spark, nung nagbungguan kayo ng crush mo, is what we call van der Waals or London dispersion in molecules. Okay, for example, oxygen gas. May nabunggu siyang carbon monoxide. Okay. So, yung bungguan na yan will cause, the collision will cause a partially positive and a partially negative charges at that moment of collision lang. Ang tawag dyan nga, sinabi ko sa inyo, electrostatic forces or electrostatic attraction. And this is just temporary. Kaya ang tawag din dito is an induced dipoles. Kagaya nito, between oxygen and carbon ng dalawang elements na nagbungguan ay nagkaroon ng partially positive and partially negative. Si oxygen ay mas mataas ang electronegativity value niya, kaya siya yung partially negative part. Si carbon ng isang molecule ang partially positive part. Pero after ng bungguan, wala na po yung charges na yan. Again, the charges only happens during the collision of molecules. And all molecules can have the possibility of collision. Non-polar man yan, ibunggo mo sa polar, magkakaroon yan ng London dispersion. Non-polar to non-polar man yan, magkakaroon pa din yan ng London dispersion. Lahat po. Okay? Next is the dipole-dipole or ion-dipole interactions. This is for two ions or polar molecule interactions. For example, meron akong si polar molecule, partially positive, oxygen is partially negative. Kapag may nabunggo siyang another water molecule, for example, H dito, tas O, and H. Partially positive, partially negative. Of course, kapag nagdikit yung two opposite charges na yan, yung charges ng oxygen at yung charges ng isang hydrogen ng water molecule, ang tawag dyan ay dipole-dipole. This only happens in polar molecules kasi polar nga lang ang merong electrostatic charges. Si non-polar, wala, diba? Mas makikita nyo, si oxygen gas kanina, 0 siya. So, therefore, wala po. Okay? The difference in polarity results in infa or non-covalent interactions. Another type is the hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding only if there is a bond of NH, OH, and FH. Kunwari, dalawang water molecule, ito yung isang water, ito yung isang water. Yung oxygen nito, dumikit sa hydrogen ng isang water molecule, ang tawag dyan ay hydrogen bonding. Kasi OH. Next, NH3 molecule plus H2O. Hydrogen ni H2O, tapos nitrogen ni H2O, nagkadikit, nagkaroon ng interaction, ng tawag dyan ay hydrogen bonding. Pasok siya sa criteria na NH, OH, and FH nga lang. Next, another, HF. Si F, dumikit sa hydrogen ni NH3. So, therefore, yes, this is also called hydrogen bonding. Okay, tatandaan yan. Another example of hydrogen bonding is yung sa DNA nyo, which is the GCAT, where guanine to cytosine, adenine, and thymine. Paano sila kinoconnect ng DNA structure nyo? Through hydrogen bonding. Tingnan nyo. Hydrogen ni thymine, nakadikit sa nitrogen ni adenine, o NH bond yan. Anong tawag dyan? Hydrogen bonding. Next, yung oxygen din ni thymine, nakadikit sa hydrogen ni adenine, OH bond yan. Anong tawag din dyan? That is also an H bond. Okay? Okay, let's try to identify. Maglalagay ako ng example. Chlorine gas and sige, Br2. Check natin kung siya ay merong van der Waals or LD. Next, kung merong dipole-dipole at kung merong H-bond siya. Okay. Mapapansin ninyo, again, chlorine, Br2 to Br molecule. Again, all molecules have van der Waals, so check na agad yan. Walang X dyan. Next, si chlorine connected to another chlorine. Kung titingnan si chlorine, ang electronegativity niya ay chlorine is around 3.0. So, 3.0 minus 3.0 kasi dalawang chlorine nakakonect lang naman sa isa't isa. So, therefore, 0. So, again, 0 is non-polar covalent. Check natin si Br. Si Br naman ay 2.8. Kung titingnan natin, Br connected to Br. So, Br. 2.8 minus 2.8 equals also 0. Non-polar covalent. Hindi siya pasok sa dipole-dipole. Diba? To be considered as dipole-dipole, you have to be polar covalent at may charges ka. So, next, may hydrogen bonding ba? Again, wala. Wala kang mabubuong OH dyan, NH, or FH bond dyan. So, therefore, no hydrogen bonding then. Okay? Another one, less na. Okay, for example, I have okay, let's have NH3 and H2O. Check natin muna if may London dispersion. Yes. Check agad. Agad na agad. Next, hydrogen bond. Yes, agad. Kasi kung ito-drawing mo yan, possible yung hydrogen nito kumonect sa nitrogen nito. NH bond yan. Check na check yan. Okay? NH bond. Next, tignan natin kung may dipole-dipole. So, ang bonding nito ay NH. Ito ay OH. Si H ay, tignan natin. Ang H ay 2.1, ang nitrogen ay 3.0, ang oxygen ay 3.5. Oxygen is 3.5. Nitrogen is 3.0. Hydrogen is 2.1. Hydrogen is 2.1. Kung compute natin, highest minus lowest for 1.4. This one is 0.9. Again, pasok sila pareho sa range na 0.4 to 1.6, which is polar covalent, polar covalent, polar covalent. Pasok sila, dalawang polar covalent, therefore, meron kang dipole-dipole. Okay, ganun lang kadali. Basta ang criteria pag dipole-dipole, polar isa, polar din yung isa. Okay? Pero kung kunwari, yung isa non-polar, yung isa polar, wala pong dipole-dipole yan. Okay? Okay, so the first signs of life originate, evolve, and thrive in seas. Typically, organisms are 70% to 90% water. Metabolic activities are only possible when cells contains at least 65% water. So, we all know that your cells, specifically your cytoplasm, contains aqueous solutions of ions, proteins, and metabolites. And water is this water's polarity is dissolving some salts and polar molecules. Why? Kasi nga, like dissolves like. Okay? Si polar, i-dissolve lang si polar molecule. Si non-polar, i-dissolve lang si non-polar molecule. Okay? Kaya ang mantika is non-polar at ang tubig ay polar, they will not mix. Kahit anong gawin mong alog dyan, hindi yan magmi-mix. Pero ang alcohol is considered as a polar molecule at water is considered as a polar molecule, magmi-mix yan. Okay? We also have a term as hydrophilic. Hydrophilic is water-loving. Ibig sabihin, gusto nila ng tubig. Sino lang ba mga water-loving? All of the polar molecules. Okay? Para makadikit sa water, kailangan they are also polar. Meron din tayong hydrophobic, which is water-fearing, takot sa tubig. At ang mga water-fearing ay they will never mix with water. They are called as non-polar molecules. Okay? Then, tatandaan po yan. Okay, so unusual properties of water. Water is a polar molecule due to its bent structure. The oxygen atom is electronegative and it wants to pull the electrons from the hydrogen atom towards itself. When it's electronegativity, the ability of an atom to attract an electron. So, the more na mataas ang electronegativity value doon sa table, the more na mas lakas siyang manghila. Ang tawag sa kanya is partially negative. And the weaker ones are considered as partially positive. And of course, water has higher boiling point, melting point, heat of vaporization, surface tension. Why? Because of its polarity. And hydrogen bonding. And again, hydrogen bonding is one of the strongest. And again, hydrogen bonding is the strongest force of attraction. Mahirap yan i-break. That's why mataas ang boiling point. Kailangan mo ng malaking temperature, such as 100 degrees, para ma-break yung hydrogen bond na yan. Again, can dissolve polar solutes. And of course, na-discuss ko na din, which are the hydrophobic interactions, which are your non-polar molecules. Okay, so some properties of water, it directly correlate its importance in biological system. It provides the following. It acts an excellent solvent for nutrients. Taga-transport yan ng mga ions inside your body. Tumutulong din to process ng digestion ng mga biomolecules nyo, paano natadigest yung carbohydrate para maging energy siya. Ang gumagawa niyan or tumutulong sa pag-digest ay si water. Retains heat efficiency, aid in smooth blood flow. Water participates in buffer systems. Again, I have said that it is an excellent solvent to dissolve your electrolytes and biomolecules. And of course, sweat is one of the indicator na nag-retain ng body temperature ang body mo. Kapag kunwari nilalagnat ka, pag masyado mataas yung body temperature mo, kailangan maglabas ng sweat para mag-cool down si body. So, blood becomes more viscous due to less plasma water. and it can help in the concentration of an acid or a base. Okay, water undergoes self-ionization called autoprotolysis, in which it acts as both as an acid and a base. If you can see, water can be an acid and a base. If you remember Bronsted-Lowry, si acid, Bronsted-Lowry acid donates proton. Proton, which is the hydrogen. Bronsted base accepts proton or hydrogen. If you can see here, if this molecule of water is an acid, the other is a base. Your acid will remove its one hydrogen, so H2O, tatanggalan ng isang hydrogen, magiging OH siya, negative. Tinanggalan mo ng isa eh. So, yung hydrogen na natanggal, ibibigay dito kay base kasi nga acceptor siya. 2 plus 1, 3. So, magiging H3O positive. So, ayan ang ibig sabihin ng autoprotolysis where acid yan lang ibig sabihin ng autoprotolysis where your water can act as both as an acid and a base. So here, pH, you all know that pH 7 is always neutral. Pag less than 7, meaning 1 to 6, acidic na yan. 1 hanggang 6.9. Okay? That is already considered as acidic. Pagka naman pataas, it is considered as basic na siya. So, mataas sa 7. 7.1 to 14. Okay? And you all know, you should know that kapag ang pH ay 7, sa isang solution kasi, there is your protons and your hydroxide. Okay, balikan natin si tinatawag na Arrhenius acids and base definition. Si Arrhenius daw na acid will be a high proton donor. Arrhenius base is a hydroxide donor. So if a solution, sa isang solution, there is always a proton and a hydroxide. So, depende na lang yan kung sino mas madami. Si proton ba or H+, o si hydroxide na OH+. Kapag pantay ang dami ng proton at OH, it is considered as neutral. Kapag mas madami ang proton kaysa kay OH, it is considered as acidic. Kapag mababa naman ang proton pero mas madami ang hydroxide, it is considered as basic. Okay, tatandaan yan. And why do we need pH inside your cells? Because it can influence biochemical processes including the functions of certain enzymes. For example, pepsin. Si pepsin, isa sa mga nagda-digest or tumutulong ma-breakdown yung proteins na kinain mo. Yung sangyupsal, yung barbecue. So, si pepsin is highly active at pH 3. Kapag si pepsin ay nalagay sa isang environment na around pH 5, pH 1, pH 0, hindi siya gagana. So, therefore, ano mangyayari sa katawan mo? Mahirapan kang mag-digest ng proteins. That's why may ibang tao na may sakit na hindi kaya mag-digest ng proteins at bawal silang kumain ng karne. Same with other enzymes. Inside your body, it needs a certain pH. Okay, now let's discuss a buffer solution that can resist changes in pH when acids or bases are added to all solution. So, ang isang buffer kasi, always has an acid and its conjugate base. Tatandaan ha, this is a representation of your acid. Kapag naka-buffer form siya, lagi siyang merong kasamang conjugate base. Si conjugate base ay acid na niremovean, tinanggalan na ng proton. Tatandaan na, ang acid na natanggalan ng proton or hydrogen ay tawag na sa kanya ay conjugate base. As you can see here, why does it resist changes in pH? For example, ito yung hydrochloric acid. Papatakan ko tong buffer na to. Acidic buffer na yan. Okay? So, ang representation ng acid na yan ay H or proton na yan. And tatandaan nyo, ang representation din na madaming or nagiging acidic ang solution kapag madami siyang hydrogen sa product niya. Tatandaan na, pag madami kang hydrogen sa product mo, ibig sabihin, acidic ang solution mo. Ngayon, dito sa buffer na to, sige, sulat natin. Papatakan mo siya ng acid, which is H positive. Ang acid natin targets a base or a conjugate base. Tandaan lagi yan na. Ang target lagi ng acid, of course, ay si base or si conjugate base. Next, dito sa formula na to, which you have your acid, your proton, and your conjugate base, wala kang nakikitang base dyan, wala kang nakikitang base, but meron kang nakikitang conjugate acid. So, ang target niya ay si conjugate base. So, A plus yung acid na idadagdag will form since conjugate base siya, it accepts hydrogen, tatanggapin niya yung acid o yung H plus na dadagdag. So, therefore, magiging HE siya. Ngayon, sa product natin na to, wala tayong nakikitang H plus. Again, ang indicator na nagiging acidic ang solution kapag may nakikita kang H plus sa product, pero wala nga H plus lang. HA lang. So, therefore, your pH will not increase. Okay? Next. What if naman, again, ito, si buffer natin, dagdagan ko naman siya ng base, which is hydroxide ang representation. Papatakan ko tong buong buffer na yan. Ang target ng base lagi ay acid or a conjugate acid. Tingnan na natin ulit si buffer, proton, conjugate base. Again, ang indicator na nagiging basic ang solution kapag madami kang hydroxide sa product or OH sa product. Ngayon, nagdagdag ka ng OH. Target niya ay acid or conjugate acid. Ngayon, dito sa buffer mo, acid lang ang meron. So, HA plus OH, tatargetan niya yung acid, now will form anong product? Okay, tatandaan niyo ha, this is an acid, this is a base. Ang trabaho lagi ni acid ay pinapakawalan yung hydrogen na sasaluyin ni base. So, H plus OH, magiging water yan. At ang matitira ay si A na lang. Ngayon, sa product mo ulit, wala kang OH. Therefore, again, pH will not increase. Okay? That's the reason why your buffer solution resists changes in pH when acids or bases are added to your solution. So, this is a formula for buffer, which is just the Henderson-Hasselbalch. Hindi na namin to explain, but paano lang to? pH is always pKa plus logarithm of conjugate base over an acid. Ganun lang yan kasimple, ha? Okay, so this is an example of a buffer. This is an acidic buffer, actually. Yes, this is its acid. Pag tinanggalan ko to ng isang hydrogen, magiging proton yung isa, tapos HPO4 2 negative. Ito na yung conjugate base niya. Okay. Ito din, this is a buffer. Pag tinanggal ko tong hydrogen na to, natira yung proton, nawalan ng hydrogen dito, ang tawag na dito ay conjugate base. Acid. Sige, conjugate base ang tawag. Okay? Next, this is a bicarbonate system, which is an acid-base homeostatic mechanism that balance your carbonic acid, H2CO3, and HCO3 negative, and carbon dioxide to maintain the pH in the blood. Simple lang yan. H2CO3, kung mapapansin mo, reversible yan. Okay? So, kapag pa-forward ang reaction, sabihin, your acid is releasing protons and the conjugate base. Kapag masyadong na-release na protons, highly active yung acidic buffer mo sa katawan, nag-release na madaming protons or hydrogen sa blood. Remember, hydrogen is, or proton is, nagle-lessen yung pH, meaning nagiging acidic yung blood mo. Again, proton means acidic, diba? Madaming hydrogen or proton sa blood, bababa yung pH mo, acidic ang blood natin. Pero kung paano kung baliktad? So, pa-reverse naman tayo. In this form tayo, itong blue. Ito muna, isulat. HCO3 negative. Next, plus hydrogen. Papuntang carbonic, H2CO3. Okay? Kapag marami ka namang ginagamit na proton that is available in your blood or in your body, at nagpo-form ka ng carbonic acid, ano nangyayari sa pH ng blood mo? Tinatanggalan mo ng hydrogen, binabawasan mo ng proton, so therefore the pH level increases kasi nagiging basic na yung blood mo. And kapag na-form ng madaming carbonic, nagpo-form ka din ng madaming carbon dioxide in your lungs. So, pag madami kang carbon dioxide in your lungs, that will cause what you call this one, hyperventilation. Okay? This one naman sa kabila, kapag naging acidic ka, kapag nagiging acidic yung blood mo, this is hypoventilation. Dioxide from your carbonic, ini-exhale mo ng ini-exhale. So, yung pag-exhale ng madaming carbon dioxide will lead you to hyperventilation. Okay, so another one is water is not just a solvent but can also act as reactant in various biochemical reactions such as hydration, hydrolysis, and condensation. Hydration is actually parang a type of addition reaction siya where you add the whole molecule of water pero it should be subdivided muna to hydroxide and proton. Okay? So, hindi na namin na-explain kung paano nahati si water. Basta, you just have to know na kapag ina-add si water or nire-remove sa water, it is always in the form of hydroxide and a proton or H+. Dito sa hydration, dapat tandaan nyo, merong magbe-break ang pi bonds ng double bond. Pag na-break yan, may introduce si hydroxide and hydrogen. Kagaya nito. Sa part na to ng double bond, as you can see, kapag na-break yung bond na to, di ba in every bond, there is 2 electrons. So, pag na-break yung bond na yan, so i-break natin. Ayaw maano. Okay, try natin i-break yung bond. So, kapag na-break yung bond, nito, yung isang electron, ibibigay sa isang carbon, yung isa ibibigay dito sa isang carbon. Then, of course, unbonded na yung dalawang carbon mo, yung isang OH, didikit dito, yung isa, hydrogen, didikit dito. That's why yung isang carbon, may OH na, that isang carbon, may hydrogen na. Tapos, single bond na siya. So, again, hindi namin i-discuss why yung isang carbon OH, why isa may hydrogen. May rule yan actually. Pero dyan lang tayo. Again, you break the bond by introducing water, then one of the carbon receives the hydroxyl, one of the carbon receives the hydrogen. Ganun lang kadali. Next, hydrolysis. Sa hydrolysis, you have a big molecule that you will break into 2 products. Paano? Again, this is OH and hydrogen again. And you have to break this one. Here, ang pinakamadaling ma-break dito ay kung nasaan merong single oxygen bond. Why? Kasi here si hydrogen, matakaw siya sa oxygen. In every corner dito, there is a carbon. Corner nito, there is also a carbon. So, kapag pag-break ka, either left or right, isa lang, i-break mo left or right lang naman. Pag binrake ko tong band na to, yung carbon dito, mabibigyan ng isang unbonded electron. Yung oxygen dito, mabibigyan ng isang unbonded electron. Here, didikitan to ng OH. Here, didikatan to ng hydrogen ng water kasi hydrogen loves oxygen so much. Kaya kung titignan mo na yung structure nito na nahiwalay, eto na siya. Kung titignan mo na to, si structure na to na merong COH na sa structure, eto na siya. Okay? Nahiwalay na siya. Okay? Yun lang ang ibig sabihin ng hydrolysis. From one big molecule, it breaks chemical bond. Now it forms 2 products. Next, condensation. Here, you remove water. Removal of water into molecules. Then, condense the 2 molecules. Again, yung pag-remove ng water dito sa dalawang molecule ng glycine, yung isa ay OH, ay isa ay hydrogen pa din. So, kung dito titingnan, yung OH dito tatanggalin. So, kapag binake yung bond yan, merong unbonded na si carbon dyan, meron ngayon si buong OH, tananggal yung hydrogen dito, may isa si hydrogen, may isa ngayon si nitrogen. Check natin. Tanggal na si OH. Tanggal na din yung hydrogen. So, pwede na mag-form yan ng water, which is ito na. Next. Unbonded ngayon si carbon, unbonded ngayon si nitrogen. Wala ka ng ibang molecule. Therefore, you now form here what you call a condensed molecule. Magdidikit yung dalawang yan. Okay, CN bond. Ito na siya, oh. CN bond. Ang tawag siya, condensation. Removal of water, then condense the molecule. Kailan nyo makikita to? Pag mag-formation na kayo ng peptide bond sa proteins ninyo. Okay? So that is the end of the chapter 1.